Very good, fellas. You can piss off. Gentlemen, welcome to the evening. This is a wee bit different than the sportsman's evening when we had the ladies with us. Tonight we haven't. And as I said on that particular occasion, I happen to be unique in the field of comedy in Australia these days. I'm an Australian. And as such, I'll tell you one thing. If anything at all that I happen to say tonight upsets or offends anyone in any way whatsoever, I couldn't give a shit. Now, I'm a local lad, as you know. I live round the corner. Bass Hill. Right near the drive-in. No, near the drive-in I live. I don't know why they call a drive-in a drive-in. They should call it a back-in. Nobody drives into a drive-in anymore, do they? They go in backwards in them funny wagons with the curtains around them, the panel van. Down the bottom flap, up the top flap, in on the mattress. Bloke at Bass Hill reckons if business keeps up like it is, he's going to start putting pictures on. So I took my missus the other night. I thought, we'll be in this, we'll go to the drive-in. So in we go. And there's a Holden shaggin' wagon backed in there. There's a Ford shaggin' wagon backed in there, and there's a posse in between. I thought, we'll have that. Now, we don't look too conspicuous. We better go in backwards like everybody else. So in we went, backwards. Ran round and sat in a boot. We haven't got a wagon. And what do you think's on the 10 Commandments? Bastard next door's breaking 7 of them. He wasn't looking for Noah's Ark. Do you know the name Roddy Llewellyn? Roddy Llewellyn. He was the bloke knocking around with Princess Margaret over in the Caribbean last year. He went for a part in a movie. They said, have you had any previous acting experience? He said, well, I had a bit in Charlie's Aunt. What about the movie Jaws? Anyone seen that? The movie Jaws. Mate of mine went and saw that. He said, frightened shit out of you. He said, you go and see Jaws. He said, you won't even put your foot in the bath after seeing that. Must have shown it years ago in England. No, don't tell me the pommies are in, are they? Any pommies here? Don't put up your arms, just nod. Bloke said to me the other day, he said, why do they take a bucket of shit to a pommy wedding? He said, to keep the flies off the bride. You know, Oh, you can learn from that. See, Linda Lovelace is doing the sequel to Jaws called Gums. Her dentist reckons she had the best set of teeth you'd ever come across. Anyway, Now, have you ever noticed something about entertainers? They get on the stage and all they do is rubbish other nationalities. You ever notice that? Well, I'm no exception. But what I do, I have a go at the Aussies first, and then I have a go at the rest. Is that fair enough? I don't have to ask you this. I've worked Marrickville. Playing a new game in Marrickville called Spot the Aussie. I was going through there the other day, and here's 70 Italians all standing around on a group on a street in Marrickville. 70 of them. They're having their room painted. Oh, we'll do one about the Aussies first. 2 Aussie bricklayers. They're on their way to work one year. One said to his mate, he said, what we do today, go to work or go to the races? He said, let's toss for it. He said, we'll toss up a brick. Now, if it stays up, we'll go to work. Foreman on the building site said to a brickies labourer, go and get me a wheelbarrow. Off he goes. He comes back 10 minutes later. He's got one wheelbarrow with another one on top. And the foreman said, I only wanted one. He said, what do you want me to do? Bloody carry it. So don't tell me the Irish are dumb after that. Like the Irishman walked into a pub with one glove on. And his mate said, why are you walking down the street with only one glove on? He said, I was watching the weather on the television. And the girl said, tomorrow's weather might be warm, but on the other hand, it might be cold. Oh, you don't like cold ones? What about the puff Eskimo? His wife kept saying, coming out of the reindeer. Irishman walked into a pub and his feet are all bandaged up, and his mate said, what happened to your feet? He said, I burnt him cooking spaghetti. He said, how would you burn your feet cooking spaghetti? He said, it was on the can. It said, place in a saucepan and stand in boiling water for 15 Oh, I guess we should talk about other nationalities. How about the Pakistani on top of a burning building over in England? 20 stories up and it's blazing away and the fire brigade arrived. 20 firemen race out with this great big round net and they're going, jump! Jump into the net! Jump! English translation for the Poms. Jump! You didn't know I could talk like a pommy, did you? I can talk like anybody I want to talk like, yeah? Jump into the net! Jump! And he's up there going, oh, no, 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 no. You look up here, you see Pakistan, and you say jump, I jump, and you pull the net away. Not getting me like that. You put the net on the ground, and then I'll jump, yeah? Isn't it? What about the Irish beekeeper and the pommy beekeeper? And the Irish beekeeper said, I put me bees in the hive. I locked them in, and I'm not getting any honey. Pommy beekeeper said, you stupid bastard. What you're supposed to do is unlock the hive at about 6:30 in the morning. And the bees will go into that lovely park over the road. And they'll fly back about 9:30. Then you lock them in, and then you get the honey. He said, you're bloody mad. The park don't open till 8:30. See if you can get the study and still life moving, will you? Kojak's son there. Actually, they call him Mudguard. All shiny on top and all shit underneath. There we go. Now some bastard's pinched his tray. Oh, where is it? Oh, we should talk about nationalities, I think. Who else can we talk about? What about the Yanks? They're a good mob. They've just had their boat in Melbourne. That great big nuclear-powered boat. What was that called again? That boat. The Truxton, that's the one. The USS Truxton. Great big nuclear-powered boat. Normally I'd say ship. But, you know, if you've had a few to drink and you say ship, it comes out wrong, so I say boat. Anyway, it's a frigate. But the bridge phone rings on the Truxton. Oh, this is the captain speaking. I got a leak in the engine room. Permission granted. Or you can get back to the Australians again. You've only got to read the papers. A few weeks ago, they were talking about what was in the good old Aussie meat pie. Rats, pheasant, goats, Rabbit? So this bloke got up early one morning. His wife gave him rabbit stew for breakfast, rabbit sandwiches for lunch, and roast rabbit for tea. And he wasn't too good the next day. So he went to the doctor, and the doctor examined him. He said, "You don't want me, you want a ferret." Hang on, where's Noddy going? Good on you, Roy. Go over there and form a crowd. Shut up, you stupid bastard. I'm talking to you, yeah. Would somebody explain to him I'm bigger than he is? I'm not bigger than his mouth, but I'm bigger than he is. The rest of you's as big as your mouth. Somebody would be happy. Oh, isn't he terrific? He's coming back again. Good on you. I'd love to put your head in my rock garden. I recently had a wonderful time at the Kosciuszko Chalet, Charlotte Pass. I don't know why I put the C in the front of the harlot. But Charlotte Pass is a wonderful place to go. And apparently last summer, up at Kosciuszko Chalet, a Texan arrived up there for a holiday, lobbed at the desk. It's 120 degrees in the shade. And this big Texan's arrived, skis, snowshoes, and everybody's got parkas on, his whole family. They've arrived at the desk. They said, we're here for our holidays. Yeah, baby, we're here for a great time. And the bloke on the desk looked up at him, Lennon, and said, "You're kidding. It doesn't snow here in the middle of the summer." And the Texan said, "The snow's coming with the rest of the luggage." Oh, those Yanks love to do it big, don't they? What about an Australian, an Irishman, and a Frenchman on a survival test in the middle of the desert? They're allowed to take one item each with them to protect themselves against the heat and the elements. And a helicopter flies in 4 days later. And here's the Frenchman and the Australian between a couple of sand dunes. And the Frenchman's standing there with his shoulder bag on. And the bloke went over to interview him. He said to the Frenchman, he said, "What do you do when it gets a bit hot? How do you combat the heat?" And he said, "I brought with me a battery-operated fan. I press the button and the fan goes and cools me down." Oh, yes, very good. Said the Australian, he said, "What do you do when it gets a bit hot?" Oh, he said, "I brought a brolly with me, mate. Whack up the old umbrella, bit of shade. If it happens to rain, I can turn it upside down and catch water in it." Oh, he said, very good initiative. He said, "Where's the Irishman?" And as he says that, over the next sand dune crawls the Irishman on his hands and knees. He's in tatters, and he's got a car door strapped onto his back. And the bloke went over, he said, "What do you do when it gets a bit hot?" He said, "I wind the bloody window down." See, a lot of people think the Irish are dumb. It's actually, Australians aren't all that bright. It's like the two Australians selling watermelons off the back of a lorry on the side of the Heathcote Road on a Sunday afternoon next to Mr. Whippy and the carpet joint. And they're buying the watermelons for $1 and they're selling them for $1. And one said to his mate, "Hey, we're not making much money. What are we going to do?" He said, "We'll have to get a bigger fucking truck." Have a go at me. They think I'm a ventriloquist. I got a dummy 20 feet away over it. Come on, you Harry. Must have had 2 pricks as a kid. You couldn't get that fucking stupid plane with one. him. It was the aging Clark Kent on the corner. Tell us a joke. Go home and look in the mirror and look at one. I mean, you're the best excuse for the pill I've ever seen. Gee, the last time I saw a head like yours, a rabbi was operating on it. What about this bloke? He's shipwrecked on a desert island with his dog Rover. And he had plenty to drink and nothing to eat. And after a few days, he thought, Rover, you've got to go. So he ate his dog Rover. And when he'd finished, he looked down at the pile of bones and he said, shit, Rover would have loved them bones. It's like this bloke. He worked in one of those public toilets, which we all know, down near Central Railway where you go downstairs. And his mate walked in. And he said, God, he said, I haven't seen you for years. He said, how long you been down here in the toilet? He said, I've been working here for 20 years. He said, when do you get your holidays? He said, holidays, what are they? He said, look, you're entitled to 3 weeks holiday every 12 months of service. You're to write a letter to the city council and explain your situation. Tell him you've been down here for 20 years in this toilet and you haven't had any holidays. And see how you get on. So 3 weeks later, the bloke goes down the toilet again. And here's his mate sitting there in a deck chair. He's got shorts on and thongs and a sun hat, you know, and all that, and dark glasses. Sitting there with a bottle of beer in one hand, a sandwich in the other hand, a radio blaring behind him. And he said, how'd you get on? He said, did you write a letter to the council like I told you? He said, yes. They wrote me back a lovely letter and said I could take me holidays at my own convenience. All right. I want to tell you, gentlemen, and I would appreciate a little bit of hush because I haven't heard this myself. All the blokes were in the trenches during World War II. And the general turned to the major and he said, we're going over the top in 10 minutes. Pass it on. And the major said to the captain, we're going over the top in 10 minutes. Pass it on. And the captain said to the sergeant, we're going over the top in 10 minutes. Pass it on. And the sergeant said to the first digger, we're going over the top in 10 minutes. Pass it on. And the 999th digger said to the 1000th digger, we're going over the top in 10 minutes. Pass it on. And the 1000th digger said to the 999th digger, how far away are the enemy? And the 999th digger said to the 1000th digger, I don't know, I'll find out. So the 999th digger said to the 998th digger, how far away are the enemy? The 998th digger said to the 999th digger, I don't know, I'll find out. So the first digger said to the sergeant, how far away are the enemy? And the sergeant said to the first digger, I don't know, I'll find out. So the sergeant said to the captain, how far away are the enemy? The captain said to the sergeant, I don't know, I'll find out. Captain said to the major, how far away are the enemy? And the major said to the captain, I don't know, I'll find out. So the major said to the general, how far away are the enemy? And the general said to the major, 17 miles. And the major said to the general, what? And the general said to the major, 17 miles. And the major said to the general, well, what are we whispering for? And the general said to the major, I've got a fucking cold.